Have you ever thought to yourself, how come it always seems like I don't have enough money to do what I want, to buy what I want, either to build my business or just make myself happy? Like it feels like there's never enough, no matter how much I have. Well, that's not unusual for entrepreneurs. They often feel that feeling. And remember, whatever you're feeling about your money has nothing to do with money. It has to do with emotional habits that you learned early in life that you're projecting onto your money. So let's look at what you're actually feeling when you're saying to yourself, how come it seems like there's never enough to have what I want? And the answer is you're feeling, among other things, deprived. If you come from a poor family, if you didn't get touched as much as you need, you didn't get listened to, there was any kind of abuse or neglect in your family, then you're going to feel deprived. And as you grew up, then you're going to act that out through things like your finances. So what else might you be feeling? You might be feeling powerless. You might actually say that you feel less than when you're looking at other people. How come I feel so much less than other people that I know? And this applies to people in every income category. It doesn't have to be someone who is poor now, but when you have that habitual feeling of deprived, it's going to be with you a long time until you deal with it. Another feeling that goes with deprived is unloved. And you can see this acting out in a lot of different ways. Very often, people who feel deprived will keep themselves from having what they want. They'll be thinking about building up a financial base, and they'll really want something and say, well, I can't buy that because I can't afford to spend the money. So what I want to help you do today is to understand that when you say to yourself, how come it feels like there's never enough? That it's not about the present. It's not about your money. It's about that habitual feeling that started when you were young. So the system that I use is recognize, release, replace, and repeat. Because what you have to do is retrain your brain to have a different response when you see something. For example, when you see something that you want or think that you want in that moment, then you have to recognize what you're feeling and decide what you'd rather be feeling so that you can rewire the neural pathways in your brain. So let's imagine that you're seeing something that you really want and you suddenly feel contracted and you're saying, why can't I have what I want? Or I'm afraid to spend the money. Whatever you're doing that is making you uncomfortable about buying what you want. So that's recognizing the feeling that you're having. Then you say to yourself, when did I feel this before? And you think back in time, and if you can go back to early childhood, then you think back to when you felt deprived, when you didn't get the love you needed, when you didn't get the toys that you wanted. And actually, if your parents felt poor and deprived, then that will be an emotion that you learn from them and becomes one of your habits. So the first thing to do is to recognize it. And as you go through this process of saying, when did I feel it before? And you either write it down or share it with someone or say it out loud, I felt so deprived when, you're actually expressing the feeling when you do that. Another way of doing it is looking inside your body-mind and experiencing the kinesthetic experience of deprived. Do you feel contracted? Where do you feel it? And then you can make the sound of the feeling. And this works pretty much with just about any feeling that you're dealing with. All right, so recognize, release, replace. What would you rather be feeling at this point in time? You're looking at something that you want to buy. You know that you actually have the money for it, but you're afraid to buy it for some reason. And the reason is because your habit is to deprive yourself, because that need to feel deprived is your habit. So what would you rather be feeling? You probably want to feel something like expanded, that you have power to really look at how badly do I want that, so that you can make a different kind of decision about whether or not to buy. Now, the idea of this is not to buy everything that you want, but to be able to make better decisions about whether to buy something. And when you're buying because you're satisfying that feeling of deprivation, that's not a good reason to buy something. Now, one of the techniques that I used as I was learning this is, if I felt this feeling inside that I had to have something, I wasn't allowed to buy anything. As long as I felt that, I'd say, oh, I really need that. And I had to wait often a couple of days until that feeling was gone before I would go out and actually make a purchase of any kind, so that I got to really experience that feeling of deprivation and my wanting to get beyond it. So what would you rather be feeling? I'd rather be feeling full, and you might want to use the word abundant. So what would I rather be feeling? I'd rather be feeling expanded and comfortable and allowing myself to have what I want and to really be able to understand what I want. And the question is, do you know how to feel that? Sometimes we have to teach ourselves the feeling. And when you're looking at deprivation, one of the main feelings that goes along with that is a feeling of longing. So if you're always longing for more money or more things or fancier clothes or a bigger car, that sense of longing is what's going to be the energy behind what you're creating. So it's important to look at these things and say, okay, what would I rather be feeling? Do I know how to feel that? And when you come up with something like satisfied, comfortable with where I am, and if you don't know how to feel that in the moment, then you have to find a way to teach yourself that feeling. One of the ways to do that is to think back in time to when you may have felt that feeling, so you can recognize it. So each time you have that sense of contraction, I feel poor, I feel powerless, I feel unloved, I feel that longing, that you can take a breath and say, wow, I feel satisfied, and I feel that I have the power to get what I want. I feel strong and confident, and to teach your brain that when you see something that you like, to feel that feeling instead of that contracted feeling of deprived. So I hope this helps a little bit. On prosperityplace.com, I have podcast episodes about that. And in my book, Build Your Money Muscles, I go into the 5 main feelings that people act out through their money and talk about how to deal with it. I also have some courses that deal with this. So that's it for today. I hope this helps, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video.